unidentified aircraft locked onto the USS Valiant's flight path. The US Navy had seconds to decide between diplomacy and defense. It was just past dawn, the Pacific stretching endlessly, calm on the surface, hiding the tension about to unfold aboard the USS Valiant. The carrier was humming with its usual morning rhythm, tools clanging on the flight deck, engineers walking briskly between stations, the low murmur of radio chatter, but all of it stopped in an instant. A single voice cracked through the comm from deep inside the Combat Information Center. Fast-moving contact, bearing 2110, altitude dropping fast. Everyone froze. The radar blip wasn't just another plane passing by. It was heading straight for the carrier's restricted airspace. Fast, low, and silent. No transponder code, no communication. Just a lone, sharp blip cutting across the green radar screen like a line drawn with purpose. The officer of the deck didn't hesitate. Alarms blared across the carrier, filling every steel corridor with a high-pitched urgency. The silhouette appeared on the horizon, a sharp delta of wings, heat rippling from afterburners, an unmistakable J-16 strike fighter, a Chinese jet moving steadily, deliberately, toward their deck.
Aircraft is equipped with 3 advanced electromagnetic catapults, enabling the launch of carrier-based aircraft. Now, the EMALS system, it allows Fujian carrier aircraft
For a heartbeat, silence reigned on the bridge. A million scenarios raced through every mind. Defection, navigational error, or a calculated provocation meant to test the crew's nerves in the middle of contested waters? The answer, however, would only become clear with time. On deck, the yellow-shirted handlers froze, mid-task, their eyes locked on the approaching aircraft. Engineers paused. Ordnance crews stopped rolling their carts. The growl of the twin engines filled the morning air, overlaid by the salty tang of the sea and jet fuel. The ship, usually a controlled chaos of operations, now felt like it was holding its breath.
Older carriers, the Shandong and the Lining, thus increasing the aircraft operational range and effectiveness.
Inside the Combat Information Center, orders crackled through the air. Alert all pilots! Scramble immediately, arm and ready. The hangar bay came alive. 18 Super Hornets roared to life, their engines shaking the deck as pilots strapped in, eyes scanning the rising silhouette. Weapons crews pushed live ordnance toward the catapults, and Marines took positions, rifles low but ready, along catwalks and entry points.
Energy efficiency, reduced maintenance, and the ability to launch heavier aircraft give China tools to extend the reach of its carrier-based wings.
The communication channels buzzed, Mandarin and English overlapping in clipped, tense messages. Unidentified Chinese aircraft. State your intentions immediately. Only the growl of the approaching jet answered, now close enough to vibrate through the deck steel. The captain's mind raced. If it was a pilot defecting, they'd have to secure the jet without escalating. If it was a provocation or trap, a single wrong move could trigger a diplomatic crisis or worse.
Enemy targets from greater distances. The system, it allows for sustained operations far from home waters, providing the Fujian with blue water capabilities. And recent footage which was released by
the radar confirmed what everyone already feared. The J-16 was committed. Too low, too fast, too direct. The intelligence chief listed possibilities, each grimmer than the last. A defector, a navigational failure, a deliberate test of US response. No one even needed to mention the fourth hostile intent.
The development is causing concern in Washington and its allies, as it shatters the perception that US naval supremacy was unquestionable.
43 seconds to deck contact. Every second felt like a lifetime. The flight deck turned into choreography. Crews moving in precise patterns, sweeping away carts, clearing the path. Arresting wires were drawn tight, heat shimmering above the non-skid steel, ready to catch the jet's tailhook.
Shows the carrier's electromagnetic propelling 3 cutting-edge aircraft into the skies. And these are the J-35 stealth fighter.
Launch intercept! Captain Cole's voice cut through the tension. 2 FA, 18 Hornets leapt from the catapults, afterburners carving trails of white-hot air into the pale morning light. The fighters banked toward the intruder, a lone Chinese J-16, landing gear down, heading for the deck as if it belonged there.
Navy aircraft carrier, USS John F. Kennedy, which has complete its first nuclear propulsion testing. Huntington, Eagle, Ingalls Industries, the leading US naval shipbuilder and
The Airbus tried again over the open channel. Unidentified Chinese fighter. Divert immediately or you will be engaged. Repeat. Divert now, silence. Only the approaching roar of turbojets answered, growing louder, almost omnipresent.
15T fighter, a 4.5 generation multi-role fighter upgraded for catapult launches from an aircraft carrier, and it high payload strike capabilities and electronic warfare roles here as well.
Lieutenant Avery released a magnesium flare, a bright warning blaze cutting across the dawn. For a brief moment, the intruder dipped its wings, almost as if weighing the order. Then deliberately, it locked onto the glide path of the carrier. Deck crews moved in tense precision, yellow shirts waving arms in urgent arcs. Marines crouched in the hangar bay. Damage control teams prepared for fire, fuel leaks, or sudden attacks. Every inch of steel, every hand, every heartbeat was synchronized to the rhythm of the approaching jet.
System on the aircraft carrier Gerald Arford. The Chinese replica suggests an accelerated modernization with a vocation for direct rivalry. With an aircraft carrier of these characteristics, reinforces its capacity for power projection and
Inside the CIC, analysts noted a troubling pattern. Chinese naval drills had surged near Hainan Island just 24 hours prior. This was no ordinary flight. Whether it was a desperate defection, a calculated provocation, or a trap, the USS Valiant was about to find out.
On the James River, shipyard crew maneuvered the carrier with tugboats and returned into the pier for follow-on trials.
15 seconds to impact. 10, 8. The Hornets made one last close pass, flare warning igniting the air. Still no response. The countdown became almost unbearable. The J-16's tailhook hovered above the arresting wires like a metronome. The ship held its collective breath. And then contact. Wire 3 snapped taut. Tires screamed as the jet skidded to a controlled halt, metal biting into steel. The deck shuddered under the weight of the foreign machine. Marines surged forward, rifles at low ready. As the canopy remained closed, the pilot's visor reflecting the first sunlight. A sudden hiss punctured the tension as the canopy locks disengaged. The pilot's hand moved inside the cockpit toward a chest rig. Everyone braced, but it wasn't a weapon. A worn leather pouch, salt-stained and stitched, emerged. The pilot handed it over carefully. Inside hard copy maps, a folded memo stamped with military insignia, and a thumb drive marked unmistakably Chinese. His English was rough but urgent. "I have proof. They are planning something big," he said. Captain Cole exhaled. Orders followed. Medical attention first, then debrief. The jet stayed cold until EOD could clear it panels by panel. Outside, Chinese ships had halted short of the Valiant's protective screen, broadcasting for the return of both the pilot and the jet. Inside, analysts pored over the pouch. Satellite images, encrypted communications, marked maritime charts, all pointing to a covert operation in the Pacific. Patterns emerged quickly. Some intelligence aligned with prior reconnaissance. Others hinted at capabilities beyond U.S. knowledge. Submarine-launched drones, orbital tracking systems, cyber sabotage operations. The pilot, identifying himself as Captain Lang, spoke of sleeper cells, fleet movements, and weapons caches positioned far from where U.S. intelligence believed them possible. Yet doubts lingered. The theatrical nature of the landing, the timing, even the choice of aircraft, all could be a provocation designed to make the U.S. react aggressively. Every officer aboard knew the stakes. One wrong move could start a chain reaction spanning continents.
has overcome centuries of foreign humiliation and has reached the technological pinnacle. This symbolism is as powerful as the strictly military aspect. The debate over technological authorship is no less.
Back on the deck, sailors whispered, their eyes on the J-16. Some called Lang a hero. Others suspected a Trojan horse. Captain Cole's gaze remained fixed on the radar, on the destroyers holding at the edge of the Valiant's screen, testing the crew like wolves circling a campfire. Washington scrambled. Secure lines buzzed with conflicting advice. Keep the pilot and exploit the intelligence, or return him to avoid escalation. Both paths carried immense risk. Hours stretched. Fuel levels dropped. Patrol cycles repeated. Every movement had consequences. Inside the secure operations room, intelligence officers worked in shifts, gloves on, eyes scanning the pouch and drive. Every detail mattered, every notation, every date stamp could be a clue or a trap. The Pacific shimmered outside, glassy and innocent, unaware of the tension boiling above it. Over 48 hours, decisions hardened into procedure. Guard the pilot, mirror the drive, sanitize the jet, keep the deck clear, keep tempers cooler than steel. Outside, Chinese destroyers held position, neither advancing nor retreating, like history itself paused in observation. Inside the carrier, sailors moved through the routine of the extraordinary. Mess decks filled with whispered speculation. Pilots ran through checklists. Damage control teams prepared contingencies for any eventuality. Marines adjusted their positions constantly, aware that the slightest lapse could turn a historic moment into a catastrophe. The intelligence gathered from Captain Lang promised to change everything or nothing, depending on the choices of the coming hours. Analysts cross-referenced maps, decoded logs, and traced fleet movements. Every piece of data could confirm what they feared or reveal a new level of sophistication from an opponent they were only beginning to understand. Outside the Valiant, the Pacific remained deceptively calm. Sunlight glinted off steel decks and the waves beyond. But aboard, every heartbeat, every command, every second ticked toward a future that could reshape naval strategy in the Pacific for decades. The USS Valiant became more than a carrier. It was a stage. Every officer, sailor, and Marine played a part in a drama whose final act could decide regional balance, global diplomacy, and the lives of thousands. Every decision was weighted, every action scrutinized, every reaction potentially historic. Captain Cole's thumb hovered over the communication toggle, his eyes, sharp calculating, tracked the intricate web of moving parts. Each radar contact, each deck movement, each radio exchange was a variable in a complex equation whose result could not yet be predicted. And yet, amid the tension, one undeniable fact emerged. The Pacific had just witnessed something extraordinary. A Chinese J-16 had landed on an American carrier, and it wasn't an accident. Whether defection, provocation, or calculated trap, the implications would ripple far beyond the horizon. Inside, intelligence officers worked methodically, cataloging the leather pouch, the maps, the drive. The information promised revelations about fleet movements, hidden weapons, and possible threats lurking in international waters. The situation outside the carrier remained tense. Chinese ships maintained position, signaling their interest in the pilot and the aircraft. For Captain Cole, every choice mattered. Keep the pilot and the intelligence, risking escalation, or return him and lose potentially vital information. Every second stretched into an eternity. The crew, trained to respond to crises, now had to act with unprecedented caution. And so, amid the steel, salt, and silence, the USS Valiant waited, its decks clear, its teams ready, its crew alert. The leather pouch lay on a table inside, a small object carrying enormous weight. Outside, the Pacific remained calm, yet beneath its surface, history had just took a turn. For the next 48 hours, the decisions aboard the carrier would shape more than the fate of a single pilot or aircraft. They would influence the balance of power, test diplomatic patience, and define the limits of courage and restraint. And in the quiet moments between the alarms, the engines, and the shouting of orders, every sailor understood the truth. They were standing at the edge of history. The jet touched down, the crew held their breath, and for a moment, history hovered above the Pacific, reminding everyone that peace, like flight, depends on control. Watch more, learn more, and subscribe for the stories that define our world.